You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome everybody to this episode of the Impact Implosion. My name is Seth Draken as always, and with me is Mike Poland.
Hello everybody, or anybody that's listening.
This episode is going to be called The UK Tour Gets Fucked. Because yes, tonight's episode of Impact gave me a lot of alcohol to drink. 3 bottles to be exactly.
Guinness the UK beer, or is that Australian?
What?
Is Guinness the UK beer?
No,
that's
Irish? Australian.
Okay. Well, Australia's technically in the UK.
Oh, Guinness? Guinness, you mean? I thought you said, I thought you said something else. Foster, sorry.
No,
Guinness, I think is, Guinness may be, UK. Maybe in the UK. It may count.
Yeah,
so,
Foster's
yeah.
Australian, I do know that.
Yeah, I think Guinness is European. It counts. But yeah, I had 3 bottles of hard cider tonight, and that's the most I've ever had for one of these shows. And, someone's telling me Guinness is Irish.
Okie dokie. Well, isn't that still technically the UK?
Part of it, yeah, and then there's Northern Ireland. Yeah, Kev's telling me it's British-Irish. It counts.
Oh, righty then.
So, yeah,
Anyway.
We gotta start with some news, because there's actually a whole shitload of news, actually.
Holy cow.
And Kev just told me Budweiser's American piss water. Yes, I am perfectly aware of that. And Dos Equis will kill you in Mexico. Anyways, we have a bunch of news. We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan last, because he did a shitload of things. We're going to talk about Impact Wrestling did a Harlem Shake video.
What the hell is that?
It's a 30-second video where one guy starts dancing, and then during a certain point, everybody starts dancing.
Oh, God.
It cuts. This one, it was a ref dance. I think one of the announcers dancing. And then we saw Jeff Hardy, James Storm, and the crowd dancing.
Oh, God. That's what I want to see. Mike Tenay, Taz, and Todd Kenley dancing.
No, they weren't dancing. It wasn't them.
Borash.
I think it was might have been Borash, but they were in a steel cage, by the way.
Oh, dear God.
Well, Jeff Hardy was dancing on top of the steel cage, and James Storm was dancing on the alley.
Well, I mean, the TNA did used to have the cage dancers back in the day.
Yeah, and we also got to talk about D'Lo Brown saying that TNA Impact Wrestling boom period is upcoming.
Yeah, tell us when that is, D'Lo.
Yeah, I'd like to sell a bridge to D'Lo Brown right now after tonight's episode. After that bull crap, we also have Taryn Terrell and Velvet Sky were at Bellator. So if you believe these events were live, Bellator was in Utah, and Velvet and Taryn were done at not 10:05. So it took. No, actually, it was 9:05. I'm sorry. 9:05. It's a 2-hour show. And by the way, so they would have to be less than an hour to get to Bellator tonight, which I call bullshit on. So if you thought that was live, you're lying to yourself.
Yes.
Former wrestler Stevie Richards called Dixie Carter a money mark and Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff con artists.
Well, to be fair, I heard an interview with him not too long ago where he called Dixie a money mark, so you know.
Yeah, and a TNA producer, Brian Edwards, tweeted that he found AJ Styles today and it did not go well. So, worked with him for 5 years and never have seen him act like he did today. Disappointed. I bet that's a work. I bet that's a fucking work, by the way. And
find him.
if y'all didn't hear this, there was a store in, I think it's Scottsboro, Alabama. Scottsboro, Alabama, where they sell all the lost luggage that has never been claimed. Why is this news? Because one of the lost luggage that has never been claimed, and you can buy, is a TNA World Title Belt.
Oh, God.
I shit you not.
Hey, Dixie, go and save your belt before somebody else buys it.
I bet someone else has already bought it now, because they showed this on Today, and they said they had the most interesting thing was a wrestling world title, and it's the TNA heavyweight title.
Jeff Hardy, you idiots.
To be fair, some people are saying it may have been the belt James Storm lost when he was giving it to AJ Styles.
James Storm, you drunken idiot.
Whoever did it is an idiot. And TNA announced their next one-night-only tapings, which will be in the Impact Zone on March 17th, March 18th, and March 19th. All three events will have 2 shows.
Okay, then.
So, yeah. And let's talk about fucking Hulk Hogan.
The other ones still haven't aired.
First, Hulk Hogan said of TNA that it's now or never for this company.
Never.
And then there's a video of him trolling people on Modern Warfare 3. Yes. And finally, oh no, there's 2 more things. Second, Hulk Hogan had some harsh words for Bret Hart.
Oh, God.
Here is what he said. He said of the WrestleMania 9 incident, it was purely a call on the part of Vince McMahon because he wasn't willing to show the same faith in Hart that he had in Hogan as a main eventer.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Even Vince says that's bullshit. And adding more fuel to the fire, Hogan said that Bret Hart is a two-faced person because the last time he saw Bret Hart, he was flying around in my Learjet with him, and playing with his kids in the pool. Then all of a sudden, we're not cool. Hey, Hogan.
How long ago was that?
That may have been a while ago, and if we're talking about that, probably he saw your video clips from the WWE DVD that would have been screwed. You remember that, Hogan? Where you said, and I quote, when Bret Hart was not willing to job to Shawn Michaels, he no longer stopped being one of the boys.
I don't think Hogan ever knew the whole story behind that, but anyway.
Yes. So
Neither
yeah.
one of them wanted to job to the other.
Yes. So yes, Hogan, F you. And finally, here's what he said. Bret Hart was a cheap champion. And what he means by this is that Bret Hart drove down the salaries of future champions by agreeing to work for less than every other champion. If you're the world champion, Hogan said, you're supposed to make the most money. Bret Hart had an agreement to say, no, I'm not going to make a lot less than anybody else. So it changed everybody's pay.
I've never heard that.
No, that apparently, I've heard a lot that Bret Hart's was willing to work a lot less.
That's interesting.
And that's Hogan's problem with Bret Hart, is that he's unselfish.
Right.
And finally he said, no, never mind, that is it. But anyways, Hogan, one more thing. Hulk Hogan talked about Jeff Hardy. The Jeff Hardy situation of not being at the UK tour. Hogan basically said that's Dixie Carter's call. And that if it were up to him, Jeff Hardy would have been stripped of the belt before the tour. Okay,
so that's one smart decision.
Yeah. Although he threw Dixie Carter under the bus on that one because Jeff Hardy's still champion. So yeah, thanks a lot, Hulk Hogan.
It's not a literal bus.
Yeah, not a literal bus, a figurative one. If it was a literal bus, I don't know what would happen. But anyways, that's all the freaking news, and excuse me while I take a giant swig of water.
Yes.
So now let's talk about the bullshit what that was this final Impact episode in the UK.
And where do we start off with?
Hulk Hogan!
We just finished talking about.
Who said that he was going to announce that Taz accused Hulk, TNA, and Hogan of political crap, edging out the Aces and Eights from the TNA title picture. And Hogan said he has had some tough choices and he had the number one contender dialed in, but Aces and Eights stuck their noses in TNA business. So he had a whole week to think about everyone who tried to get the number one spot. And after one long week, he decided the one man who stood out above everyone else, who rose to the occasion, who made it clear that he
was not even in the
job, Bully Ray.
The guy who wasn't even in the tournament.
The guy who wasn't even in those 4 qualifying matches tonight.
Good job, Hulk.
And Kennedy and Tenay tried to defend this, while Taz says that even calls out this fact that Ray was not in a competing match.
And what does that do for the other guys that were? That shit's on them, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And by the way, that should say that Tenay and Kennedy, you're kind of bullshitting here. If you Taz, the heel commentator, the heel Aces and Eights commentator, is being the reasonable one.
Yeah, that's a good mark for you guys.
Buddy Ray comes out acting excited and shocked by this. And he claimed to be hurt and claimed to have partially torn his quad in the tables match. Buddy Ray, if you partially tore that thing...
You're not walking anywhere.
You're not walking anywhere. Well, actually, you might, but you'd be in crutches most likely.
Yep.
But here's the thing, and I guess they have several months to TNA, and I saw a documentary where a guy took 8 weeks for him to return, and that was basically, hard. When he had a partial ACL tear, so.
Yes.
Yeah, it was his decision in the end, but yeah, he was able to play football. So, anyways, maybe this could work. I'm really calling it bullshit. I'm calling this whole thing bullshit. And even Ray says he tries to play nice and say so many other guys deserve the shot above him. But all he wanted was Hogan's respect, and he wants to make Brooke Hogan happy. He wants to make Hulk happy, and he wants to be TNA champion. You know, Bully Ray, you're right. So many other people did deserve that shot.
They were all in the matches.
Like the 2 people who fucking won their match. Like James Storm and Magnus, and the 4 people who got into ties who had great matches that were ended by bullshit circumstances. Mm-hmm. Which were Bully Ray, no, not Bully Ray, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Robert Roode, or Bobby Roode, and Austin Aries.
Barbara Roode. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now Buddy Ray turns to other business. And he makes a suggestion that tonight's main event, right here in London, be a 6-man tag match. On one side are 3 members of the Aces and Eights, and on the other side are Buddy Ray, Sting, and he wants Hulk Hogan to be the 3rd man in his team.
Oh, good Lord.
Hogan accepts.
Yep.
Do you know why I fucking took 2 big swigs on this shit?
Mm-hmm. Next,
we saw Bobby Roode and Austin Aries talking in the back. Daniels and Kazarian come up to them, congratulating them for beating Chavo and Hernandez before they could, and telling Roode and Aries to follow their lead out there, and then Roode and Aries argue about following leads.
Aren't Roode and Aries the champion? Shouldn't Dana the Kazarian be following
them? I know.
Egos. Even Roode brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're the champions. You should be following us, not the other way around.
Yeah. Although they said this after the other guys were gone. So yeah, up next, those 4 guys versus Chavo, Hernandez, who were, by the way, booed to the arena.
Nobody likes you.
Yeah, everyone fucking hated you. Joseph Parks.
Yay.
And James Storm, who got the loudest ovation.
As he should.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
By the way, I didn't like this match, and I'll tell you why. And
Joseph
here's
Park was
why.
facing peril?
Well, what?
Because Joseph Park was the face in peril?
I didn't care. It was fine. He should have been the face in peril. But Joseph Park gets a fucking splash, and the guy who gets booed out of the arena, Chavo, picks up the pin. And before that, the fucking heels split up where Austin Aries and Bobby Roode leave because there was this, and the only good spot of that match was a fucking blind tag-a-thon where Austin Aries blind tags Daniels, Roode blind tags Aries, and Kaz blind tags Roode. And everyone is asking who's the legal man.
Comedy!
Since Kaz was the last one who tagged in, he's the legal man, and he's the one who takes the pin from Chavo.
So, do we get a heel versus heel tag title match at Lockdown, probably?
Oh, I'd love that, but no, we're probably not. We're probably going to get the rematch with fucking Dos Stereotypicos.
Or we get a three-way.
I don't know. I doubt that, too. But Dos Stereotypicos are probably going to get the fucking rematch. And that'll be bullshit, because those two have been the worst team in recent memory. Only behind Hernandez's other team, Mexican America.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, worst teams in TNA, yes. The worst tag champs. Anyways, the worst tag champs. There's been worse teams that didn't get the belt, thankfully.
Siaki and Apollo.
We then get Robbie E. and Rob Terry coming to the ring. And today relayed a message that Robbie E. plans to teach Spud, Rockstar Spud, a lesson. And Taz notes that he's given up a lot of his size, and today interjects twice, experience. And Taz is pretty pissed off.
Sucked.
Yes, it did. Rockstar Spud
isn't good.
I hate to say this to you, buddy, but you're about the freaking size of Crash Holly and Spike Dudley.
Oh, good God. He looks like guys I've seen on the on indie shows around where I live.
I know, he is small. When freaking Robbie E is towering over you,
you're short.
You're short.
Scott Steiner should return to do a promo on him. You're short.
Anyways, Robbie E tries to grab the clipboard from Terry, and Terry's held on, not letting Robbie win. Used by
Cheat. Really mattered.
And this allows Spud to roll up Robbie E for the win. Afterwards, Robbie E decides to be the stupidest dumbass in the world by getting pissed off at Terry, freaking grabbing his face several times, and finally just slapping him.
Yeah.
Robbie E did the smart thing after a few minutes and fucking ran.
Good God, we're finally gonna get a split between those two, aren't we?
Yes.
And then neither of them will have anything else to do.
I know. And then they still talk about the 6-man tag tonight, and then that Tara's going to put up the Knockouts title tonight in a 4-way, and we see Jesse giving Tara a pep talk about two constants. He will always be her boyfriend, and she will remain Knockouts champion.
Well, not for long.
Yeah, back to the break, we get the 4-way.
Oh, yes, and Brooke Hogan ejects from ringside.
And somewhere along the line, Jesse Goddard gets thrown to the back.
It was right before the match started.
Yeah, I don't remember this. I didn't see that. I saw her sit at ringside and then commercial break.
And your new knockout champion is Velvet Sky.
This fucking match. You know, we have a good point in Impact, and it's normally the knockout segment.
Not this week.
Not this week! This was a bad match.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go through the eliminations. Gail eliminates Tara, guaranteeing a new champion.
And she eliminates Tessmacher.
Yeah.
Velvet eliminates Tessmacher.
By the way, Velvet, I think, kind of lets go on a Tower of Pain move. I think, what is that called? The Tower of Pain or something? That
Tower Doom?
Yeah, she kind of let goes. You're supposed to hold on to that. And Tessmacher looks really really took that hurt.
Yeah, good Lord.
So anyways, in the Tessmacher gets pinned by Velvet in a roll-up, and then Velvet is trying to roll up Gail. Gail's holding onto the ropes for dear life. Not pinning her, just holding onto the ropes for dear life. And then Taryn Terrell gets her hands off the ropes. Taryn...
you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that. That is not a spot you're supposed to do because she wasn't pinning her. She was trying to avoid getting... She hadn't pinned her yet, so Taryn Terrell, nice fuck up there. And Velvet, and because of that, she rolls her up. Not a 3 count, by the way, but not even that. Anyways, Velvet gets hit with the in your face for the win, and Velvet hits Gail. Velvet hits Gail, and Velvet Sky is the new champion. Fuck. Fucking bullshit.
Next.
We are in Hogan's office, where Hulk Hogan is telling Sting that he needs him to keep his eyes on him in the 6-man tag, because he has a bad feeling about this.
Yes, probably, or maybe it's that British food.
And Sting says he will definitely have his back. Sting then leaves Hogan's office. So much for having your back, buddy.
And next up we have Samoa Joe. Oh no, we have Samoa Joe and Garrett Bischoff next.
Next up, we had a video package showing the terrible year that was AJ Styles.
And we'll have an update on him next week.
Yeah, we'll have an update on him next week. Yes. And then we got Garrett Bischoff, had a drink here, versus Samoa Joe.
And the match that should have lasted only about 30 seconds, but it lasted 5 minutes.
5 minutes and 7 seconds of Wes Briscoe looking like a complete jobber.
Garrett, not Wes.
Garrett. And then Wes Briscoe interferes and causes a DQ.
Garrett Bischoff looking like a jobber. That's nothing new.
And announces that at Lockdown, in a steel cage match, it'll be Kurt Angle versus Wes Briscoe.
Gee, I wonder who will win.
Next we have RVD versus Kenny King. King won a title shot recently against Zema Ion on an episode of Implosion. So
how long ago was that? This was taped like 3 weeks ago.
Huh?
And how long ago was that? Because this was taped like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was in Implosion 3 weeks ago. That was tape 2. That was taped before this show. Anyways, there was a few...
RVD retains.
Yeah, RVD retains. There was a few good points few good points. One after the bell rang for the first time, Taz vowed to put Todd Kennelly in a body bag. And Kennelly says, point taken.
Could you add Mike Tenay to that body bag?
Could you add all 3 of you into that body bag, please? And just get new announcers.
Commentary for TNA.
Yeah, we could get better commentary by somebody. By a jackrabbit.
Borash.
You know,
Borash.
Yeah, Jerry Borash and a jackrabbit.
And Don West.
Anyways, the only spotlight here, there were 2 spotlights. One, after one spot, Kenny King points to his ass and does it 3 times to say RVD. And the other spot is Kenny King not fully connecting with a royal flush.
Uh-oh.
Which, the announcers even mentioned that he didn't get all that, and that it wasn't good enough for a 3 count.
Well, it shouldn't be if he didn't get all of it.
Yeah, RVD gets the win. So, RVD fucking retains the belt after Kenny King has had, this is his 3rd title shot, and he's lost all 3 of them. One of them's a triple threat match. He's lost all 3, so, yeah, thanks. Backstage, Hulk Hogan talks to Brooke, the one behind this whole Buddy Ray getting a title shot. So, somebody, Ace, you have my permission to kick the crap out of Buddy Ray, Hulk Hogan, and then Brooke Hogan. You have my freaking permission. Anyways, Brooke tries to implore Hogan not to go through with this match, and Hulk says that in order to defend his family, he's got to do it.
He's got to do it.
He's got to do it. We get a video package of Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy in a video interview recorded in daylight that his injury has healed. And by the way, he mentions that that was a hard hit by the hammer, Even though every video shows that was one of the most lackadaisical hammer hits I have ever seen. Come on, Sting took harder hits than that. Anyways, and he thinks a cage match against Buddy Ray is going to be the best cage match of all time.
Overhyping him much, Jeff?
Yeah. Then we have Sting coming out first, so much for watching Hogan's back. Well, actually, no, first Aces and Eights come out, and it's Devon, the disappearing act as Mr. Anderson, and the big guy known as Doc. Bugs Bunny's favorite wrestler. Anyway, Sting comes out, and then Buddy Ray comes out. Hogan's music plays, no sign of Hogan. Taz jokes about Hogan having second thoughts. And then Hogan's music stops, the crowd boos. Tenayer's like, Hogan would never do this. Really?
Yes, he would.
This would be perfect Hulk Hogan. By the way, his music plays again. No sign of him again. So Aces and Eights jump Sting and Buddy Ray, and the match begins. It's a handicap match because Hulk Hogan couldn't show up.
I'll be even more handicapped if Hogan showed up anyways.
Yeah. Ray limps around the ring to sell his injured quad.
Injured.
And by I'm injured, I mean quotation mark injured.
Air quotes.
Yeah. And then we have Tenay saying, come on, bully. And Taz accusing Tenay of being biased.
Oh, well, who else is he going to cheer for?
I know. You know, the heel commentator once again calling out the guy who's supposed to be unbiased. Fucking biased.
Well, that's what Jesse Ventura used to do to Vince years ago.
Although Vince was kind of being unbiased at times. Vince was at least trying.
Right.
Today's not even fucking trying. So anyways, here comes the end of the match. Hulk Hogan comes out selling a knee injury because somebody hurt him. Oh, by the way, no, Aces and Eights merged with possession of Brooke and Hogan. Hogan got hurt, apparently, and Ray gives chase. Back in the ring, he leaves Sting alone. Sting's got the Scorpion Deathlock on Mr. Anderson. Of course, what happens? Doc hits him with a clothesline. And then Anderson pins Sting. So Sting goes down to a fucking clothesline.
It was a big boot.
Oh, okay, a big boot. But he goes down pretty easily.
And Aces and Eights actually get a win.
Yes, they do. And they're beating up on Sting, and Buddy Ray is still up on the apron. Checking on Hogan.
Hulk, are you okay?
You okay? Sting is in the middle of the ring getting the crap kicked out of him.
Help your partner.
By all of them. And you're out there. Oh my God. And this is... And TNA ends the show with Taz saying it's a good day to be a bad guy. You're right, Taz.
Daryl was crying somewhere.
You're right, Taz. It is a good day to be a bad guy when the freaking good guys are dumber than doornails.
Pretty much.
Yes. Dark Helmet in Spaceball said this best. This is why evil will always triumph over good. Because good is dumb.
Pretty much.
Yes. Oh my freaking God.
Oh my God.
Oh, I read the tapings to this and I knew. I fucking knew. That's why I bought 3 cases to begin with. And then I've been drinking waiting for this because I know this is gonna fucking happen. And it's worse. If you could believe this, it's worse than the tapings say it is.
Yeah.
This has the fucking balls to end the UK tour with their worst show in a while.
Stop, please.
Find a new hobby.
Stop your bullshit.
Stop that shit. Y'all need to stop that shit. Like, come on, man.
What was that?
Okay, Kellen Kev is telling me that that belt that's at the lobby was a belt Jeff Hardy lost 3 years ago.
Oh my.
He was still high.
And they're just finding it now. Good work, guys.
Yes. They're just finding it now, and somebody's probably bought it.
For probably 30 cents on the dollar. Yay!
Oh, God. Here's the thing. I understand that they never found the bag, and the airline's insurance probably paid out on that, but they never freaking even went to claim it. They kind of tell you, most people kind of fucking tell you that, we got a belt here. This might be yours. Nobody even goes to Alabama or somewhere to even get it.
They don't care. If nobody claims it within 30 days, we're giving it to the next available person. Hello?
Oddly set Seth over the top. I'm seriously. He must have ran off for another bottle or something. Seth, are you still out there? Are you still comatose, brother? God, he's gone. We'll see if we can get Seth.
Hello?
Hello?
Not my phone died for a second.
Did you fall off the wagon there, Seth?
No, I didn't. I swear to God,
the wagon when he was watching the show tonight.
It just fucking cut me off.
We
I
thought
my phone for a second there.
we thought you took one last swig and passed out.
He pulled a Sandman.
Oh, God, this episode was horrible. Dear Lord, it might as well have been. Oh, Lord.
The gods have spoken.
This was... I don't know what to say about this episode. You know, I think we were even having a game where I'd rather do something than watch this episode of Impact.
What would you rather do than watch this episode of Impact?
Change a fucking diaper. And those things stink, I know. Oh, dear
you
Lord.
You want to be pro wrestlers, you got to put in the hurt time.
You gotta at least try to be this shitty.
Motherfucker, you are on antidepressant.
So yeah, the UK tour ends in a complete bomb.
The UK tour goes out where they whimper.
Yes. You got anything to sell before we almost end the show?
I do. This Saturday night, February 23rd, Primer presents Pro Wrestling Get the Chopper, featuring...
TNA may have well have done that. Get to the freaking chopper and get the hell out of Dodge.
Featuring ECW star New Jack, featuring Tony Atlas, featuring a 5-way ladder match, featuring stars from Beyond Wrestling, featuring a bunch of other things. Also, March 1st, IWE returns to Fairfield, featuring Bushwhacker Luke, taking on Heart Attack Tommy Mack, Rene Dupree against Andy McKenzie, and also featuring the continuation of the Junior Heavyweight title tournament, and a lot more. And then on July 6th, it'll be Wrestling is Art in Fairfield, Maine, featuring stars from Beyond Wrestling and Shakara, and a lot more. And I think that's all I've got for this week.
All right, I got one final thing. Last week I finished the Oogie Loves induction, so it's up there, and you'll laugh your ass off if you read it, because, oh dear God, this is bad for kids' shows. You have a freaking, some of the highlights, a vacuum cleaner named J. Edgar, having a crush on a magic window.
Oh, dear.
With the scariest face you will ever see in your life. You have Chaz Palminteri singing absolutely terribly. You have Carrie Elways, you remember him from Robin Hood and Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Never saw either of those.
Or how about the Saw franchise?
Oh, yes, I do remember those, yes.
Yes, he was in the first one as the doctor. Yeah, as the doctor. He basically is overacting his ass off, wobbling all over the place, having the goofiest faces ever. So yeah, even he knows this is shit. You have them basically ripping off The Happening.
Oh God!
With the balloons coming back because a force stronger than the wind is the power of love.
Oh God!
So yes, the power of love beats the wind.
The power of love sounds like an emo song that Jimmy Jacobs would have done years ago.
Yes.
That's crazy talk.
And you have Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown, doing I don't know what the fuck kind of dances. He just basically does like salsa, does the robot, not the robot, they walk like an Egyptian. He does
like an Egyptian. Oh.
The dude love dance. That dude loved it. Yeah. Oh God. Oh dear Lord, this movie is terrible. And this was interactive too, by the way. With basically interactive, I mean, is they tell you to stand up and sit down and sing with these fuckers.
Which probably makes the movie even worse.
Oh God, yes. That induction, that's all I have.
Alrighty, and I guess that's a wrap for this week, isn't it?
Wraps up this week.
See y'all next week.
And Impact better be better, I swear to God.
It's from Orlando, so I guess that could be our answer, whether it'll be better or not.
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
Oh, God. Bye, everyone.
Bye.